Ever wondered why some Samsung updates feel exciting at first, but months later, your phone starts lagging, apps take longer to open, and that new phone feeling fades faster than you expected? You're not imagining it. Many software updates are designed to grab attention up front, with flashy animations, bold new icons, or headline-grabbing AI features, but they often sacrifice long-term stability for short-term spectacle. What if, instead, an update was engineered not to impress you on day one, but to serve you faithfully for years? What if it promised smoother scrolling not just today, but 6 months from now? What if its AI didn't shout for your attention, but quietly learned your habits so well that using your phone felt almost effortless? What if every tap, swipe, and notification felt just a little more considered? Not because of dramatic changes, but because of hundreds of subtle refinements working in harmony. That's the quiet ambition behind One UI 8.5 RIS. At first glance, you might not even notice it. Your home screen looks familiar. Your app icons haven't been redesigned. There's no splashy new launcher or jarring color overhaul. And that's precisely the point. One UI 8.5 isn't about spectacle. It's about sustainability. It's Samsung's most mature, thoughtful, and future-focused interface yet, built not for viral unboxings or social media buzz, but for the quiet reality of daily use over months and years. Before we dive deep into what makes this update different, not just from previous versions, but from the entire philosophy of modern smartphone software, please consider subscribing to GEF Tech Gadget. We focus on the real, lasting impact of technology updates, especially the subtle UI changes that most channels overlook. You'll get daily insights delivered straight to your feed, all in clear, natural English, perfect for relaxed viewing or background listening. Now, let's go beyond the surface. Let's explore how One UI 8.5 is quietly redefining what it means for a phone to age well. When a new software update lands, manufacturers often optimize it for immediate perception. Faster boot times, snappier app launches, bolder animations. These create a powerful psychological effect, the illusion of speed. For the first few days, everything feels incredible. But over time, that feeling erodes. Why? Because many updates prioritize peak performance over sustained consistency. They load more services into memory. They enable background AI processes that weren't fully tested at scale. They add visual layers that look stunning in demos, but consume resources silently. The result? A phone that feels amazing out of the gate, but gradually slows down as background tasks accumulate, memory fragments, and thermal throttling kicks in during routine use. One UI 8.5 flips this script entirely. Instead of chasing that initial wow, Samsung has focused on predictable behavior. Every animation, every transition, every system process has been re-evaluated not just for how it performs on a fresh install, but how it behaves after 300 days of mixed usage messaging, browsing, photography, multitasking, gaming, and idle time. For example, consider app switching. In earlier versions, returning to a recently used app sometimes triggered a brief reload, especially if the system had deprioritized it to save memory. In One UI 8.5, Samsung has refined its memory management algorithms to better distinguish between apps you temporarily set aside and those you've truly abandoned. If you switch from your email to a map app and back within 5 minutes, the email app remains fully loaded in the background. Not just its last screen, but its scroll position, cursor placement, and even unsent drafts. This isn't just convenience, it's cognitive continuity. Your brain doesn't have to reorient itself every time you toggle between tasks. And this consistency extends to the smallest interactions. Pulling down the notification shade now uses a slightly adjusted animation curve, one that feels lighter, more responsive, and less mechanical. It's not faster in milliseconds, but it feels faster because it aligns more closely with human expectations of motion. These micro adjustments, repeated dozens of times a day, compound into a significantly more pleasant experience over weeks and months. This approach reflects a deeper understanding of how humans interact with technology. We don't notice individual frames or CPU cycles, we notice flow. When transitions feel natural, when apps behave as expected, when gestures respond without hesitation, our brains register a sense of calm control. One UI 8.5 cultivates that flow deliberately, not by adding features, but by removing friction. It's the difference between driving a car that accelerates smoothly versus one that jerks forward with every press of the pedal. Both get you where you're going, but only one feels like it was designed with care. Modern smartphones are engineering marvels, but they're also increasingly difficult to use with one hand. Screens now stretch beyond 6.7 inches, bodies are taller and heavier, and reaching the top corners requires awkward wrist contortions. Yet, most interfaces still assume you're using two hands or holding your phone at eye level. One UI 8.5 addresses this not with gimmicks, but with ergonomic empathy. Samsung has systematically moved frequently used controls downward, closer to where your thumb naturally rests. The Quick Settings panel, for instance, now places the most used toggles, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, brightness, do not disturb in the bottom half of the panel. Even the Edit button to rearrange these toggles has been relocated lower, so you don't need to stretch just to customize your own shortcuts. But it goes deeper. The gesture navigation system has been fine-tuned. Swiping up from the bottom edge to return home now has a wider activation zone, meaning you don't have to hit a precise pixel line. Swiping from the left or right edge to go back is more forgiving of accidental brushes, yet still responsive when intentional. And perhaps most importantly, the reachability feature, where double tapping the home bar temporarily shifts the screen downward, has been made smoother and more context-aware. It won't trigger during video playback or while typing, reducing frustration. This isn't just about physical comfort. It's about reducing cognitive friction. Every time you struggle to tap a tiny icon at the top of the screen, your brain registers a minor failure. Over time, these frustrations build up, making your device feel less intuitive, even if you can't pinpoint why. One UI 8.5 eliminates many of these invisible pain points, so your interaction feels fluid, not forced. For users who rely on accessibility features, these changes are even more meaningful. Larger touch targets, clearer visual hierarchy, and reduced reliance on precise gestures make the interface more inclusive without sacrificing efficiency for advanced users. Samsung understands that good design isn't just for the average user. It's for the full spectrum of human ability. By lowering the physical and mental barriers to interaction, One UI 8.5 ensures that more people can use their devices with confidence and ease, regardless of hand size, motor control, or visual acuity. Customization is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it empowers users to make their devices truly their own. On the other, too many options can lead to decision fatigue, confusion, and a cluttered interface that feels overwhelming rather than personal. Previous versions of One UI offered deep customization, but often buried it in nested menus. Want to change the accent color? That's in display settings. Adjust icon shape? That's under themes. Modify font size and style? That's in accessibility. The result was a fragmented experience where personalization felt like a chore, not a joy. One UI 8.5 streamlines by introducing a unified customization hub. Accessed through a single entry in settings, or long pressing the home screen, it presents only the most impactful options: wallpaper, color palette, icon style, font, and widget behavior. Each choice is previewed in real time, so you see the effect before committing. More importantly, Samsung has limited the number of options to prevent overload. Instead of 50 icon packs, you get 5 carefully designed styles that work cohesively with the system. Instead of dozens of fonts, you get 3: one optimized for readability, one for personality, and one for minimalism. Widgets have also been rethought. Resizing them no longer requires entering a special mode or dealing with rigid grid constraints. Simply long press a widget, drag the resize handle, and it snaps smoothly to available space, without pushing other elements out of alignment. And when you add a new widget, One UI 8.5 suggests placements based on your usage patterns. If you always check the weather first thing in the morning, it might propose placing the weather widget near the top left of your primary home screen. This approach reflects a deeper understanding of human behavior. People don't want infinite choices, they want meaningful ones. By curating options and reducing noise, Samsung helps users personalize their phones without the mental burden of endless tweaking. The result is a cleaner, calmer interface that feels uniquely yours, without the chaos. It's a subtle but powerful shift from "you can do anything" to "here's what matters most to you." Artificial intelligence has become a buzzword in tech. But too often, it's implemented in ways that feel intrusive, gimmicky, or disconnected from real needs. Pop-up suggestions that block your view. Auto-correct that helpfully changes words you didn't mistype. Photo editors that apply filters you never asked for. These aren't intelligence. They're interruptions disguised as assistance. One UI 8.5 takes a radically different approach. AI as a silent partner. Take the keyboard, for example. Predictive text has been rebuilt using on-device learning models that adapt to your vocabulary, writing style, and even the apps you're using. If you're texting a friend, it learns your slang and abbreviations. If you're drafting a work email, it shifts to formal phrasing. Crucially, this learning happens locally. Your data never leaves your device, so privacy is preserved while accuracy improves. In the camera app, AI assists without taking over. When you open the gallery, editing tools now appear contextually. If a photo is slightly underexposed, a gentle enhance suggestion appears, but only if the algorithm is confident it will improve the image. If you've previously cropped photos in a certain aspect ratio, the editor remembers and offers that preset first. And if you often share screenshots with annotations, the markup tool surfaces automatically when you view a screenshot. Even system-level features benefit from this quiet intelligence. Battery usage predictions are now more accurate because the AI correlates your app usage with actual power draw over time. It doesn't just say, YouTube used 20%. It explains why. You watched 45 minutes of 4K video with screen brightness at 80%. This transparency builds trust, turning abstract metrics into actionable insights. Most importantly, One UI 8.5 gives you control over when and how AI intervenes. Every smart suggestion includes a small X or not helpful option. Tap it once, and that type of suggestion disappears. Not just for that moment, but permanently, unless you choose to re-enable it. This respects user agency while still offering help when wanted. The result, an AI that feels like a thoughtful assistant, not a pushy salesperson. It doesn't try to be everywhere. It shows up only when it can genuinely add value, then steps back. Over time, this creates a relationship of trust between you and your device. You stop seeing AI as a gimmick and start experiencing it as a reliable extension of your own intent. The camera is often the most used feature on a smartphone, and yet, many camera apps suffer from feature bloat. Modes upon modes, sliders everywhere, and confusing toggles that make casual photography feel like operating a cockpit. One UI 8.5 returns to a core principle via clarity through hierarchy. The default view is clean, just a shutter button, a mode selector, and a subtle flash toggle. But beneath that simplicity lies intelligent depth. Swipe left to access Pro Mode, and you'll find manual controls organized logically: exposure, focus ISO, white balance, and shutter speed, all with clear labels and intuitive sliders. Long press any setting to lock it, so you can adjust others without losing your baseline. For casual users, the auto mode has been enhanced with smarter scene detection. It doesn't just label a photo as food or landscape. It analyzes lighting conditions, subject distance, and motion to optimize settings in real time. If you're taking a photo of a moving pet indoors, it boosts ISO slightly and increases shutter speed to reduce blur, without ever showing you the technical details. Post-capture, the editing experience is equally refined. The interface removes redundant tools and groups related functions. Color adjustments, brightness, contrast, saturation are in one tab. Geometry tools crop, rotate, perspective in another, and AI-powered enhancements, like object removal or sky replacement, are tucked away under an advanced section, so they don't overwhelm beginners. Perhaps most importantly, Samsung has standardized the camera's behavior across devices. Whether you're using a Galaxy S25 or a mid-range A-series phone, the layout, gestures, and logic remain consistent. This reduces the learning curve when switching devices and builds long-term familiarity. A subtle but powerful form of usability. No amount of UI polish matters if your phone dies by lunchtime or stutters when opening apps. That's why One UI 8.5's most significant improvements are the ones you'll never see. Because they happen in the background, silently optimizing your experience. Battery management has been completely re-architected. Instead of relying solely on aggressive app killings, which can cause reload delays, One UI 8.5 uses a predictive sleep model. It learns your daily routine, when you wake up, commute, work, exercise, and sleep, and adjusts background activity accordingly. During your active hours, it allows essential apps, messaging, email, navigation to refresh more frequently. At night, it puts non-essential services into a deeper sleep state, reducing micro-wake-ups that drain battery over time. This model also considers environmental factors. If your phone detects you're in a low-signal area, like a basement or rural zone, it temporarily reduces network scanning frequency, since constantly searching for towers consumes significant power. Similarly, if you're using GPS for navigation, it allocates just enough processing power to maintain accuracy without overheating the chip. Memory management has seen similar refinements. Apps are now categorized not just by usage frequency, but by contextual relevance. If you always use Spotify during your evening workout, the system keeps it partially loaded in memory around that time, even if you haven't opened it in 12 hours. Conversely, apps you only use occasionally, like a rental car scanner, are deprioritized more aggressively. These systems work together to extend both battery life and perceived performance. Your phone doesn't just last longer, it feels more responsive because fewer resources are wasted on unnecessary tasks. And because these optimizations are adaptive, they improve over time as the system learns your habits, making your device feel fresher months after the update. This is the essence of sustainable software. It doesn't just perform well. It gets better at performing well as it lives with you. As smartphones become our primary computing devices, seamless multitasking is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. One UI 8.5 enhances this experience with subtle but critical improvements to split-screen pop-up windows and Samsung DeX. Split-screen mode now supports more apps, including third-party ones that previously resisted multi-window support. When you drag an app into split view, the divider snaps to common ratios 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, but can also be freely adjusted. Importantly, each pane now maintains its own backstack. If you're browsing in the top half and messaging in the bottom, pressing back in one pane doesn't affect the other, a small change that prevents constant navigation resets. Pop-up windows, floating apps, have been made more stable. They no longer disappear when you switch to another full-screen app, and you can now minimize them to a small icon in the corner, like a chat head. Then restore them with a tap. This is especially useful for translators, calculators, or timers that you need intermittently. For users who connect their phone to a monitor via DeX, the experience is now closer to a true desktop. Window management mimics traditional operating systems: drag to move, double-click to maximize, and Alt-Tab to switch. File handling is more intuitive. You can drag photos from your gallery directly into an email or document. And crucially, DeX now syncs clipboard content between your phone and the external display, so copying text on one instantly pastes on the other. These aren't flashy features, but they remove friction from real-world workflows. Whether you're comparing prices while shopping, referencing notes during a call, or editing documents on a big screen, One UI 8.5 makes multitasking feel natural, not forced. It recognizes that productivity isn't about doing more things at once. It's about switching between tasks with minimal mental overhead. Every refinement here serves that goal. Great software doesn't just cater to the average user, it anticipates diverse needs. One UI 8.5 strengthens Samsung's commitment to accessibility with thoughtful, integrated enhancements. Text scaling now works more consistently across apps. Previously, increasing font size in system settings didn't always affect third-party apps, leading to mismatched interfaces in 8.5. Samsung has worked with developers to ensure dynamic text scaling is respected universally. So whether you're reading news or checking banking apps, text remains legible. Color inversion and high contrast modes have been refined to reduce eye strain without distorting UI elements. Buttons remain clearly identifiable, and icons retain their meaning even in monochrome. Voice assistant integration is smoother, with better contextual awareness. Asking, "Read this message," while viewing a notification now works reliably, even in noisy environments. Haptic feedback, the subtle vibrations that confirm actions, has also been upgraded. Instead of a single thud for every tap, One UI 8.5 uses adaptive haptics. Scrolling through a list produces a light, rhythmic pulse that mimics physical texture. Pressing a virtual button delivers a crisp, localized click, and long pressing triggers a slightly deeper vibration to signal engagement. These cues provide tactile reassurance without being distracting, making interactions feel more tangible and satisfying. For users with motor impairments, gesture sensitivity can now be fine-tuned globally. Not just in accessibility settings. You can adjust how hard you need to press, how far you need to swipe, or how long you need to hold, making the interface adaptable to individual physical capabilities. This isn't just compliance, it's inclusion by design. Samsung treats accessibility not as an afterthought, but as a core principle of good interface engineering. In an age of constant alerts and data harvesting, One UI 8.5 embraces the philosophy of Ars Calm technology. Systems that inform without overwhelming, protect without paranoia, and empower without complexity. Notifications have been restructured around intent. Instead of grouping all alerts by app, you can now sort them by priority. Urgent. Calls, messages from close contacts, routine, email, social updates, and passive news, promotions. Each category can have its own sound, vibration pattern, and lock screen visibility. And if an app starts sending too many low priority notifications, the system gently suggests muting it. Framed as a helpful tip, not a scolding. Privacy controls are clearer and more proactive. When an app accesses your location, camera, or microphone, a persistent indicator appears in the status bar, not just a fleeting icon. Tapping it shows exactly which app is using the sensor and when. Background location access now requires explicit renewal every 30 days, preventing apps from silently tracking you indefinitely. Permission requests have also been redesigned. Instead of a binary, "Allo Denny," prompt, you often get a third option, "Only this time." This gives you granular control without permanently locking features. And if you deny a permission, the app explains why it's needed. This app uses location to show nearby stores, so you can make informed choices. These changes reflect a mature understanding of digital well-being. Privacy isn't just about blocking access. It's about creating transparent, respectful relationships between users and software. One UI 8.5 doesn't hide what's happening behind the scenes. It illuminates it, then gives you simple, meaningful choices. That's not just security, it's dignity. Beyond the major features lie dozens of hidden refinements that elevate the everyday experience. Scrolling now uses a new S-inertia model that mimics real-world physics. Fast flicks glide farther, slow drags stop precisely. Lists feel weightless, yet controlled, like moving a polished stone across glass. The always-on display has been optimized for OLED longevity. It subtly shifts content position every few hours to prevent burn-in and dims non-essential elements when battery is low, without turning off entirely. System sounds have been re-recorded with higher fidelity and emotional nuance. The charging chime is warmer, the unlock tone is softer, and error alerts are less jarring. Even the keyboard clicks have been tuned to feel satisfying without being loud. App layout suggestions now appear after you've used your phone for a week. If you always open Maps after unlocking, it might propose moving it to your dock. If you rarely use the calculator, it could suggest removing it from the home screen. These aren't forced. They're optional nudges based on real behavior. And perhaps most quietly impressive, background app logging has been streamlined. System logs now compress redundant entries and prioritize critical errors, reducing storage bloat and CPU overhead. This means fewer unseen slowdowns caused by diagnostic processes running in the background. These aren't headline features, but they're the kind of details that make a phone feel crafted, not just assembled. They signal that Samsung didn't just ship an update. They lived with it, tested it, and refined it until it felt right. Most software updates are designed for the launch cycle, not the life cycle. They aim to generate reviews, drive upgrades, and fuel marketing campaigns. But real ownership happens in the quiet months afterward, the 200th time you check the weather, the 500th message you send, the 1000th photo you take. One UI 8.5 is built for that reality. It prioritizes consistency over novelty, rise efficiency over spectacle, and as longevity over virality. Consider how other platforms behave over time. Features get added, then deprecated. Menus shift locations. Gestures change. The result is a creeping sense of unfamiliarity, even on your own device. One UI 8.5 avoids this by freezing core interaction patterns. Once you learn how to access settings, switch apps, or edit photos, those methods won't change in the next minor update. Samsung treats interface stability as a feature, not a limitation. This philosophy extends to hardware compatibility. One UI 8.5 runs smoothly not just on flagship Galaxy S and Z series phones, but also on older models and mid-range A series devices. Samsung has optimized resource usage so that even phones with 6 GB of RAM benefit from the same core improvements. Smoother animations, smarter battery management, consistent app behavior. This isn't just good engineering, it's ethical design. It acknowledges that not everyone upgrades yearly, and that software should serve the device you own, not just the one you might buy. After 6 months of use, your phone won't feel dated. It will feel refined. The AI will have learned your rhythms. The interface will have settled into your workflow. The battery will still last a full day. And that's the ultimate test of great software. Not how it wows you on day 1, but how it supports you on day 365. But what truly sets One UI 8.5 apart isn't just its technical prowess, it's its philosophy. In an industry obsessed with disruption, Samsung has chosen restraint. In a world of noisy AI, it has chosen silence. In an era of planned obsolescence, it has chosen longevity. This update doesn't try to reinvent the smartphone. It tries to perfect it. For the person who uses it every day, not just the reviewer who unboxes it once. Think about the last time your phone surprised you in a good way, not with a flashy new trick, but with quiet reliability. Maybe it lasted all day on a trip. Maybe an app opened instantly when you needed it. Maybe the camera captured a perfect moment without fuss. Those moments aren't accidents. They're the result of thousands of decisions made in service of real human experience. One UI 8.5 is filled with those decisions. It's in the way the keyboard adapts to your mood. Casual with friends, professional at work, without asking you to switch modes. It's in the way the screen dims, just enough at night to protect your eyes, but not so much that you lose detail. It's in the way your most used apps stay ready, while unused ones fade quietly into the background. It's in the absence of crashes, the reduction of lag, the elimination of, "Why is this so slow?" moments. This is software that understands patience. It doesn't demand your attention. It earns your trust. And over time, that trust compounds into something rare in modern tech, genuine satisfaction. So is One UI 8.5 revolutionary? Not in the way tech headlines usually define revolution. There's no holographic interface, no voice-controlled OS, no radical redesign. But in the quiet, deliberate way that matters most, yes. It's a revolution in restraint, a revolution in respect for your time, your attention, your privacy, and your long-term experience. If you've ever felt frustrated by phones that slow down, interfaces that confuse, or AI that interrupts, this update is Samsung's answer. It's not loud. It doesn't need to be. We'd love to hear how One UI 8.5 is working for you. Are you noticing smoother performance, smarter suggestions, a calmer, more reliable phone? Drop a comment below. We read every one. And if you found this deep dive helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to us Tech Gadget. We don't chase trends. We explore what truly makes technology work better for real people, every day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. This script contains hours over 200 words of continuous, flowing narrative, designed specifically for your channel's long-form, voiceover-friendly, beginner-accessible, and psychologically aware style. It avoids repetition, maintains a calm and confident tone throughout, and delivers layered insights without resorting to lists, hype, or external references. Every paragraph builds on the last, creating a cohesive, immersive exploration of One UI 8.5 as a philosophy of sustainable, human-centered design. Let me know if you'd like an even more expanded version, e.g., 12,000 words, or if you'd like this adapted for specific devices, e.g., Galaxy S25, Z Fold 7 at C. Buy.